Hi there, and greetings to you from wherever you are watching me from. My name is Ibrahim, and before I start, I would like to let you know that we have a very big channel on Telegram where we post our questions and exercises. It's a channel dedicated for programmers. And so in case you are interested, you may join in the description below. That is where I personally post my exercises and my questions. It's a very big discussion platform for developers, and we help you fix any bug that you may encounter in your programming. So aside that too, I would like to let you know that we are live 24/7 to fix and help solve all your questions. We are beginner friendly as well, so it's a community we are building. If you are interested, you may join us in the description below, but in case you are not interested, you are welcome to watch the video. Hello and welcome to our very first lecture, our very first lesson on HTML. And my name is Ibrahim Yakubu, just as I said, and this is the link to the Telegram platform. All right, so one thing that I want to say even before we start is I am assuming that I am teaching a beginner, so you can be sure that we will hold your hands and we will complete everything in an understandable way, so you are not left out once again. And in case you already have the basics in HTML, you've coded the web with HTML before, you are also welcome to watch this video, because in this video I am going to try my best to show to you some of the key points that help the website to grow. There are some little mistakes that when you do when coding HTML, it can make your website not to even appear on Google search engines and browsers. So I will try my best and show you all those tricks, all those best practices that must be employed to make sure that your website will get will be on the top, will be shown in search engines. All right, I also want to tell you one thing, that I don't intend to take most of your time, but then with the in this shortest possible lectures, I will give you the best. I will make sure that you get what you need to start your coding. And one thing that you are going to expect in this video is I'll personally, after this lecture, you will be able to create your first website. But remember, your website is not going to look stunning, but how it will look like, that is what we want it to look like, so that as we progress, we add things to it so that it becomes what we want. Okay, this is HTML. We are not doing CSS. Very soon we'll be doing CSS to add styling and other things, but for now it is purely HTML. So once again, welcome to. All right, my very first question is, what is a website? Now if we say a website, so many things can come into your mind, but my simple definition for website, and I love it so much, it says that a website is a location on the internet that contains one or more web pages. So an instance of website in our daily life is Facebook, Google, Jumia.com, and other websites that we all know or are familiar of. So what this basically means is, you see, in the normal world, if you want to travel from one location to another, you need a vehicle to go there. And this is the same with website. If you want to go to a particular website, you also need a vehicle, and that is what we call address, internet address. You cannot say you want to go to Facebook and input in the address bar google.com. Facebook and Google is not the same. They are uniquely identified by their address. So address makes it possible to visit the location. All right, let us move on to the next one. It says that web technologies. It makes sense for us to take a look at the web technology so that we will know what we will be doing and where we are going. So first on the list is HTML. You see, HTML is used for building the structure of a website. Yes, that is what HTML is all about. HTML is the structuring language. That is what we use to build a website. That is the foundation. Without HTML, there's no website. So HTML exists so that the creation of a website will be made possible. We have CSS. CSS is for styling. if you learn CSS, or when we start learning CSS, we will do amazing things. So CSS is for styling the website. It's just to add flesh, make beautification, move the text, displays, change the button from one side to the other, change the background color, the text color. That is what CSS is all about. Okay, we have JavaScript. JavaScript is a programming language for websites. So now JavaScript is everywhere, but when we get there, we will dive deeper. So for now, let's say that is for websites, as we are beginners. So JavaScript is used to program the behavior of a website. An instance of this is, you see, when you go to any website, you visit any website, you see a button like maybe login or just sign out. When you click on that button, there's an action that is triggered. You see, when you click on logout button, automatically you are logged out. So the interactions and then the behaviors of the website is programmed with JavaScript. And we have other one that we call PHP. That one is for a server-side rendering. PHP helps us to handle the back end of our website. So with PHP, what it does is, PHP, you can go to Facebook, or okay, let's better use Facebook because that's what most of us are familiar with. If you go to Facebook and then you type in your email or phone and then your password, you click on the login. When you click on the login, you don't know what happened. You just, after some time of loading, then your page changes to the timeline, like your profile session of the Facebook, like you've been logged in. The service that is responsible for that is PHP. PHP makes sure that it logs you into the account, and what it does is it just sends some services, connections, commands to the database for the database to fetch your records and all other things. So basically PHP is for the server side rendering, and that's it. We also have some branches in web development. At least most of us are beginners, so it makes sense for us to talk about this. There are three main branches of website development, and they are front end, back end, and full stack. So with the front end, just as the name implies, so I think I made a mistake. It's supposed to be front end, not front. Front end. All right. So front end deals basically, if you visit any website, what you can see, anything you can see on the website is what we call the front end section, or the front end branch of the website web development. Front end is what we see, anything, the text, the nav bar, the colors, everything. And we have back end. So that was what we use PHP for. The PHP, for instance, is a backend language, and the explanation we made there implies here. Backend is about the services that run at the backside of the website that we don't see. All right, we'll cover this in the next lecture. We'll cover it for. Then we have full stack. Full stack is all those who combine the two, those who know the front end and then the back end. If you know the two, you are known as a full stack web developer. All right. With this, let's move on to the next one. So diving deeper with the front end, he said that it deals with the development of interactive web pages. Yes, basically it has to do with anything on the website that can be seen. At least for you to know front end, you need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So for beginners in the web development industry, this is what we need to know. That for you to at least become a front-end developer, there are three sets of languages that you must know. It's a must for you to know these three. If you don't know these three, you don't fall in the category. So you need to, number one on the list, know HTML and CSS. That is for styling the website, making it look good. And then we have JavaScript. JavaScript is also, just as I explained earlier on, for the programming of behaviors of the website. That's it. And then from there we move on to the backend. If we say backend, just as the definition says, deals with services that are running behind the scenes. These services cannot be seen. Example will be database manipulation. At least you know, yes, database manipulation. With the backend, you don't know what is happening. You don't see them. You cannot, there's nothing you can trace from the backside. Everything is working underground. And that's what the backend is all about. For you to be able to know for you to be able to become a back-end developer as a beginner, you need to know PHP and also MySQL. You need PHP and MySQL. And then we have the full stack, just as it knows. It's the combination of both. So if you know the front end, you know the back end, you become both. Well, one of the goal of this course, one of these goals is to make sure that I'm talking to you here, you become a very full stack developer. You know all the aforementioned languages for the back end and then the front end. I'm teaching this, and after this we will dive deeper to the advanced courses and we will know everything. One of the advantage of joining this class is that you are sure and you have of the confidence that you will become a full stack web developer, because the one teaching you is and I'm glad to see that as well. Okay, so let's begin our class. All right, I once again welcome you again onto this very powerful class as well. We have HTML and CSS. HTML and CSS, they move together. So this is something something powerful that you cannot miss. HTML and CSS move together everywhere, but for now we will be focusing on the HTML. Very soon then we will add the CSS to it. You see that for HTML, it's a very simple yet powerful language for creating web pages. So HTML is for creating web pages. That one is not for programming anything, just for creating web pages. All right, so this is what you will learn in the coming videos. This is what you are going to learn. All what happened was an introduction. So you are going to learn the basics of HTML, and 2, you are going to know some of the best practices. Number 3, you are going to know HTML validations. This is something that is very new to most people. HTML validations is there. We are going to cover it in details. Okay. All right. So what is HTML? Let us start. You see, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It's a language for structuring the web. So just as we explained, it's just for structuring the website. And then there's one thing to attach to it. You say HTML is not a programming language. So for HTML, we don't use it for programming. It's just for structuring, for laying out the content, the site, or the building blocks, contains the building blocks for building a website. HTML is not a programming language, just as you know. So why should I learn HTML? This is very simple. You need to learn HTML so that you can be able to develop websites, because HTML is the building block for web pages. Hello and welcome to this section of the lectures. We are going to look at tags and attributes. If we say tags and elements are often used interchangeably, and they are the building blocks of the HTML language. For tags, this is how they look like. They are contained in a opening and closing curly braces consisting of the opening and then the closing. This is what we mean. Every tag in HTML, this is the format. This is how it is going to look like. Right? We have the open curly braces. Sorry, this one is angle bracket rather. So open and closing angle brackets, and then the name of the tag will come inside. And then with the closing, this is how it look like. It's just like the opening, but that one, before the name of the tag will come, you will add a backslash, right? So if you can examine carefully, then angle bracket will open, the name of the tag will come, and then from there to you have to add the backslash and then the name of the tag, so that you close it. And not all the elements in HTML are closed in this way, right? There are some that are closed, that are we call them self-closing tags, and with those ones, they don't need the opening and then the closing. It's just the opening. You just have to declare the opening. The closing will not have to come. And such is the image tag. You see, we have the image, the source of the image, where the image is coming from, another the name or the name of the image, and then the closing. Simple. So with this one, you don't need any opening and closing. Such is the image tag. So the question is, why is it that some of them consist of some of them have opening and closing and others do not have opening and closing? It's very simple. Tags that have opening and closing, that one, they are parent tags. They can have children within them. But single tags such like the image, they cannot have children within them. So that's it. Let's move on to the next one. The next on the list is attributes. Now if you say attributes provide information about an element or a tag. Let's say an element. Okay, so if we look at this img tag, it has a source, a class, and then what? An id, which is equal to unique. Okay, so why this is very important is, you see, in our code we can have so many img, which is short form of image. We can have so many image tags, like 20 of them, and if we are styling them, because all of them are image tags, it will be very difficult. Sometimes you want to style the first image and you see all of them have adapted to the style you've given, like the style you intend to give to the first one will be applied to all the 20 images in the document, which is very bad. And so attributes like class and id plays a very important role here. What it does is you can have 20 images, but all of them have different class names. For instance, the first one is called my image, then the second one is called your image. You see, all of them have the same tag. They are image tags, but the first one is my image and then the second one is your image. So if I want to style them, I simply take instead of referring to the image, I will not refer to the image tag. I'll go and then I'll select or I will choose the specific name for the class, which is my image. So if I style my image will be styled and your image will not be styled. Hello, are we clear here? So this is what happens whilst or when coding HTML. Classes help us to uniquely, classes, they don't uniquely. Classes help us to, handpick a particular element or group of elements. And we have another one called ID. The ID also help us to uniquely identify an element. It's like an ID card. Everybody have an ID card, but you see, IDs are not the same. It uniquely identify a person. So we can give the ID attribute to an element so that it can be uniquely identified. Are we okay? All right. So with attribute, there's a format that you need to follow. If we can look at it carefully, you will see that the name of the attribute is called what? Is class. It is followed by equal to, right? And thereafter the equal to, we see what? How do you call this one? We put it in double quotes. Yeah, we put it in a double quotes. And then the double quote is also opening and closing. So, this is it. Opening of the double quotes and then the closing of the double quotes, and then the name of the class will come here. Hello, the name of the class will come here. And with the ID, so ID2, that's the same. Basically, all attributes in HTML follow the same pattern. The name of the attribute will come, followed by open and then closing double quotes, and then the name or whatever attribute you want to give it to it, it comes inside the open and close, comes inside the double quotes. All right. So basically, that's how attributes and elements or tags are in HTML. One other thing that I would like to also cover is IDE. I would like you to understand what IDE is. If we say IDE, that's the abbreviation for Integrated Development Environment. So what this means, or what this does, is every programming language that you want to learn or you will be learning, there's a special software that helps you in developing that particular language or learning that particular language you want to learn. So IDE, what it does is they provide us with the efficiency. They gives us the flexibility and the ability to be able to code or learn a particular language that we are building, or like any language that specifically we are working on. IDE makes it possible for us to, write our code. It is not everywhere that we can write our code. You cannot use Microsoft Word for writing codes. Why? Because Microsoft Word is not an IDE. So for IDE, they just provide us they give us the environment. They gives us the flexibility of writing our code. And we have so many IDEs that are around, but these are some of the examples. We have Visual Studio, we have Eclipse, we have IntelliJ IDEA, and others. But it seems that for now the most popular everywhere is Visual Studio. So in this our lesson, this is what we are going to use to learn HTML. We are going to use Visual Studio. All right, so thank you, and in the next lecture we are going to start with practical. So hello and welcome once again. In this lecture we are going to install the code editor for the HTML coding. So open your browser and input Visual Studio Code. When the page opens, I want you to select the first page, this one. So you wait for the page to load, and then you click on the download. When the download page appears, you select your platform. If you are using Windows computer, you go by this one. If you are using other systems, you choose your respective OS. Okay, mine is Windows, so I click on Windows. Okay, after some time the download will start, so we need to take some time. Okay, all right. So I'm using download manager and it has prompted me for the download, but I'll cancel it because I have already installed it. But in your case, you have to install it. So install it and let's continue from the next video.